And just sit in a way that's comfortable for your hips. So I prefer to sit in what's called Vajrasana or diamond pose because it stretches my thighs, which tend to be tight, and my hamstrings tend to be loose, the other side of my leg. You might want to sit cross-legged, that might feel better for you. So place your hands on your belly. You could do this lying down if you prefer. Inhale into the belly. Exhale. Inhale into the belly. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. We're going to add Brahmari, B breath, inhale. Just keep this going your own timing on the exhale. Inhale. Hands on the heart, adding Om if you like. Inhale, arms at the sides. And if you like, you can visualize the full moon all around you. And exhale, hands to the heart. And you could be doing this lying down. Alternatively, arms at the sides, lying down. Inhale, visualizing that full moon all around you. Exhale to the heart. Inhale. Visualize that full moon all around you. If you can, make it three-dimensional in the front body, in the back body. And just make an intention to do with mind, emotions perhaps, or something physically to do with your hips, your legs, your feet, or some other aspect of your physical body. If you like, you can place your hands on that area. So tonight we're working more with the second chakra at the pubic bone area. And this is the site of emotions, creativity, transformation. And when you're ready, you're going to lie on the floor or on your mat or on your bed, whatever you're lying on. And we're just going to start by warming up the legs. If you have a belt, I was remembering this morning during my practice. So this is something I created years ago for a soccer player I worked with who had a right foot turned out all the time. But it's very strengthening for the ankles, but it actually really translates into the hips, the sides of the hips. So you're going to be lying down. I'll just see it at first so I can see you a little bit, which is always nice. Inhale, you're going to point the feet, so hopefully you can see my feet okay. And exhale, you're going to flex. And as I do this, I'm pressing out with my little toe side of my foot into the belt. Okay? If you don't have a belt, you could have a scarf. My teachers in India, you know, they'll use, like the women, they wear scarves and they'll use their scarf as a belt. So inhale, pointing, exhale, flexing, and we're going to do this lying down. And you're going to inhale, bring your arms up overhead and point your toes. Try to keep your feet parallel. And exhale, you're going to flex your toes towards your nose. Inhale. Tucking your chin down at the top of the inhale, exhale. Now, for those of you who have some issues going on with your arms, you're welcome to do this with the arms at the sides rather than the arms overhead. And just keep this going your own timing. When you do that exhale, you can flex so hard that your heels come slightly off the ground if that feels okay for your knees. Inhale, arching the back. Exhale, contracting the back. Inhale, feel the upper back, middle back, lower back. Exhale, feel the pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, chest falls, feeling the whole back go into the floor. As you inhale, try to breathe into the back body so you're not arching the back quite so much. So let the back sink into the floor even as you inhale as much as you can. And exhale. And really pressing into that belt so that you can feel this into your legs, your ankles, and your hips. And just one more time. And exhale, bringing your arms down. Release the belt. And just put it to your side. So for your next exercise, you want to remove your socks, which I forgot to do, so I'm going to pop them down the stairs. And what you're going to do is you're going to bend your knees, and we're going to work on bridge pose. And this is good for the hip flexors or the psoas. So you're going to inhale, you're going to lift your hips up. And exhale, coming down. And if you do this with the hands by your sides, you'll be able to keep your attention more on the lower body rather than the upper body. If you do want to focus more on the upper body, you can bring your arms overhead. But notice how that shifts the attention to the upper back. So I'm going to leave my hands down for the intention today, the hips. Inhale from the chest all the way to the belly. Exhale from the belly to the chest. Keep this going your own timing. It's really feeling the front body. So inhale, feeling the chest expand, then the belly expand, and then the hips coming up. And exhale. You can keep this moving, or you can rest if you've had enough. Or if you feel comfortable, we're going to take this up a notch. Try to keep your ankles and knees aligned. Inhale, you're going to come up. And exhale, stay here. You could interlock your fingers underneath if you like, or not. And you're going to inhale, lift your hips up and your heels off the ground, and see what that feels like. As you exhale, you can bring the heels down if you like, and inhale, try to lift up a little bit more. You could do this with the belt on the ankles too, or on the thighs. Inhale, lifting up. Exhale, coming down. We have a tendency to go back on this one. Inhale up and exhale down, and coming out of it, bringing your knees to your chest. Inhale, legs up, arms up. Exhale, touch the toes down, hands by your sides, and bring your knees into your chest. Inhale, legs up, arms up. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in. Draw the knees in with the core. Inhale, upper back, middle back, lower back, legs, feet extending. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, and draw the knees in. One more time. And just stay here for a minute. Bring your hands up, your legs up, and rest for a minute. Inhale, let. Exhale, go. And you might feel some shaking in the legs. If it's too much, bring your legs down, your feet down with bent knees. This increases circulation through the legs and feet and into the hips. It also increases circulation of the arms, the hands. And it's said to be good for lymphatic drainage, moving the toxins out of our system. When you're ready, bringing your legs down, you can bring your knees to your chest for a minute, your feet down. We're going to be doing another Dvipadipedam bridge. This time I want you to bring forward one side at a time. So start with your easy side. And we're going to isolate one hip at a time. So this is stretching the side that's out and strengthening the side that's in a bit more. So you'll feel that. And the distance depends on you. If you want to really take it up a notch, bring it quite far forward. Hands down by your sides for stability. You're going to inhale, bring your hips up. And exhale, roll down. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, stay a breath. Inhale, lift higher. Exhale, come down. If the stay is too much, just keep it moving. So I'm going to have this one breath stay just to stretch a little bit more through the psoas. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, stay. Inhale, up. Exhale, rolling down. You can even try this with the leg extended all the way. This is quite challenging, but it's good when there's some compression in the hips. So
For some of us, we've got one hip higher than the other, so this can be very helpful for that. And you could do it just on one side if you have, you have one hip that's a little higher than the other. So you're going to inhale, come up. And as you exhale, you're pressing that foot away. You can do the previous exercise instead of this if you like. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Do this a few more times on your own. On that exhale, really push the foot away if you've got the legs straight. Like someone's pulling on your ankle. And take a rest in the center. The knees can be together or apart. Inhale, let. Exhale, go. And just making sure you're all okay. Now we're going to do the other side. So this should be maybe your harder side if you did it that way. So placing the foot where you feel comfortable, closer to you is probably easier than farther away, but that's not necessarily the case. And it's strengthening the opposite side and stretching the foot that's out, the leg that's out. You're going to inhale, lift the hips up, and really press with that knee that is more bent. Press that side, the foot that's closer to you, really press into that foot. Inhale up, exhale down. We'll do this a few times just to warm up the hip flexor. And you might find this side a lot harder. And adding on that breath, stay at the top. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, stay. Inhale, lift up a bit more. Exhale, come down. You can do this also with the leg out in front, more if you like. Inhale, up. Exhale, stay. Try to keep lifting up. Inhale, up. Exhale, rolling down. Last time, inhale up. If it's too much, just keep going up and down. Exhale, stay. Inhale, up. Exhale, down. So if you've got a knee that's problematic, you might be feeling a lot in the supporting leg that's more bent. If you can, moving on with that leg straight. If it's not too much, if it's too much, keep the foot on the ground or maybe bring it a little bit further in front of you. So you're going to inhale, lift up, and exhale. You're going to press that foot away from you. Inhale, lifting up, and exhale, Pressing that foot away from you. Keep this going your own timing. And when you feel complete, just finishing up, feet wide, angle the knees in. And just rest. Rest the breath. Inhale, let. Exhale, go. We're just going to take a little break. Moving the hips side to side. Arms at the side, any height that works for you. So it might be low, it might be medium, it might be high. Just see what works for you. Inhale here, exhale, you're going to windshield wiper your knees over to one side. Whatever feels the most comfortable, go to that side first. So that's your exhale. Inhale, center. Your feet are nice and wide. If you have a mat, as wide as your mat, wider than hip width. Exhale, side, and inhale, center. Now we're doing this for the hips and the back. To counter to the bridge pose. Inhale, center. Exhale, side. The more you get that inside knee down as you twist, the more you'll get into the hip flexor, the hip, as well as probably the shoulder of the side that's being stretched a bit more. Exhale, twisting, inhale, center. And just finishing up, rest in the center with your knees over your ankles or angling your knees in. And just notice how your hips feel. You might be feeling this into your lower back as well. I'm going to keep going in this direction. You're going to cross your right leg over your left if this works for you. If it doesn't, you could just keep your knees together and your feet together. Okay, so that's modification. Otherwise, if you can, crossing your right knee over your left. Inhale here, exhale, coming to your left side. And you might feel your back crack, as mine just did. Inhale, center. Exhale, other side. Just going side to side. If this feels like a bit too much, you could have a pillow on each side that you're moving towards. Inhale, center. Exhale, side. And again, your legs could be uncrossed if it's too much. This is starting to get into the lower back a little bit more, so the whole pelvis. So we're definitely going more into the hips tonight. And you might be feeling it in the opposite shoulder, just finishing your last round. And then we're going to do the other side. So switching sides. Going to cross your left over your right. Inhale here. Exhale, bring your knees over to the right. Inhale, center, and exhale, left. And if you do have some upper back stuff, this might be helping with that, especially into the shoulder blades, because it's stretching that whole area. The front of the shoulder, the back of the shoulder. And if you have lower back stuff, you might feel this is very beneficial. And you might be feeling this into the outsides of the hips. And just finishing up your last round. So I usually crack my back when I do this. Feels a little bit, if you've been to a chiropractor, a little similar to that. So when you're ready, just resting in the center. Your knees could be over your ankles or angled in. Inhale, let. Exhale, go. If you like, you can visualize yourself lying under a full moon. And you could visualize yourself lying on a lake or some body of water that's quite still. And you could visualize that moon being projected down onto you, and you're lying in the reflection of the moon. And we're going to work with this image a lot tonight. It's said in the yoga tradition that the moon represents the mind, and we do special moon breathing, moon meditation for actually stabilizing the mind. The moon is also said to be, the light of the moon is very nourishing. So plants, for example, apparently love the light of the moon. That's an ancient idea anyway. And in Ayurvedic medicine, this moon energy represents ojas, or vitality. It's this cool yet full energy, very cool and calm, yet full of energy, but a very calm, stable energy, very nourishing. So the moon is an image to build immunity as well, or ojas. And when you're ready, you're going to roll onto one side that seems like the easier side. And you can have a pillow under your head, or you can have your arm under your ear, whatever's more comfortable for you. I like having my arm, but for some people that makes their arm fall asleep. So don't do that. And we're going to do some clamshells, which are a little bit like an antasana that we've been working on, but a little bit more specifically linked to the hips, but we'll actually eventually take it into an antasana, the sleeping Vishnu pose that we've been working with the last couple of weeks. So you're going to inhale, you're going to open. So this is like a side Supta Baddha Konasana, but working one side at a time. Inhale, open, exhale, close. Keep your feet together as you do this. Inhale, open, and exhale, close. If you want to add some upper back, you could have the hand in front of you, and as you inhale, you could open the hand, and that might help you breathe into that lung a bit more on that side. So I'm on my right side and my left lung, I'm activating a bit more through this. Inhale, opening, and exhale, closing. Or you can just isolate it at the hip. This is very strengthening for the hip, for the abductors, the outside of the hip. We have one side that's a little weaker than the other, and that can cause problems when we're walking. It can lead to pain. It can lead to pelvic instability. And just rest here for a minute. Just notice how that feels. Now we're going to stretch that top leg. So moving into the anantasana that we've been working with. And that bottom leg bent, if you like. And if you like, bring that top arm overhead. This is an option. You don't have to. You can have the hand in front instead. And when I'm doing this, I'm really stretching, just like I did in the bridge. I'm stretching that foot away, the top leg. I'm really stretching it away. So I stretch through the whole side of the hip. So that's your inhale. And then exhale, you're going to bring the leg up and the hand to the thigh. And again, when I do that inhale, I really stretch away, so I decompress that hip. And exhale, bring it up. My knee is facing towards you, towards the center. My foot is flexed on that exhale. Inhale, I'm pointing. So I'm getting some nerve flossing through the whole leg and foot. Now, if you want to take this up a notch, you might want to bring it forward. So placing the hand down now, and place the foot at 3 o'clock. And you're going to inhale, bring the leg up with the toes angling down, and exhale, resisting that coming down. And just keep that going, or if you like, I'm going to go around the clock and gradually come back to the starting position. Inhale up, exhale down. And then when I get to the starting position, I'm going to work my way back from 6 o'clock to 3 o'clock. And if you started on your weak side, you'll be regretting it about now. So we usually try to start on our easy side. I forgot and I did my weak side first. Try to do one more round. If it's too much, stop. So it's really working the side of the hip whole leg into the foot. Hard to do this one with slow breathing because it's so challenging, and we're just going to finish up. And when you finished up, you're going to bring your knees together and just rest inside child. And when you feel ready, we're going to try to do the same thing on the other side. Make sure you don't have too many things around you. Okay. So, just starting simply, you've got one arm under your head or a pillow. And if you have a pillow, you can just have your hands in front of you, resting. Your legs are about 90 degrees. So try to create that 90-degree angle. And this is a preparation pose for Anantasana, Sleeping Vishnu. Inhale, opening, keeping the feet together. Exhale, closing. It's also very similar to Supta Baddha Konasana, butterfly pose. Inhale, opening. And exhale, closing with resistance. Doing this around 6 times, but to be perfectly honest with you, when I practice, I just do things until my body says I'm done, and then I move on. But 4 to 6 times is an average. When you're ready, you're going to stretch that top leg out. The bottom leg can be straight or bent. Definitely easier to have it bent. And you're going to inhale, you're going to bring that top arm overhead. And you're going to stretch that top foot away from you. So that's your inhale, and exhale. You're going to bring that top leg up and your hand to your thigh. Inhale, extend. And exhale, bend. Keep this going. Your own time. When you do that, inhale, stretch away and decompress the hip, and exhale, engage. Keep the knee facing towards the center as you do this, with the foot angling down, if anything. And be mindful of the tendency of the leg to come forward at this point. You're trying to do a little bit more of the classical pose. Okay, we're going to move on. So you're going to take that leg to 3 o'clock. The hand's going to rest in front of you. And you're going to inhale, bring the leg up. Exhale, down. And then gradually work towards 6 o'clock. Inhale, up. Exhale, down. Keeping the toes angling down, if anything, not up. Try to keep the toes from going up. Very big tendency to put those toes up. Try to avoid that. Inhale up. So feel like the heel is taking you up. And just find where it becomes a little bit harder for you. Gradually coming back to 3 o'clock in your own timing. Just doing 2 rounds. Noticing where it's easier. Noticing where it's harder. And where you feel this in the hip. And maybe into the whole leg. And resting, bending the knees, resting in side child. If this is not accessible, you can line your back right away. And when you're ready, lying on your back. And before we do that, we're going to grab one of our cushions. So a little bit bigger cushion for what we're going to do. And have your belt nearby. And put the cushion underneath your hips, underneath your buttocks. And you're going to stretch one leg out. And just feel that stretch into that hip. So it's a little bit like the bridge we were doing earlier with one leg out, but this time it's passive. And you're going to inhale, bring the same arm up as the leg that's out and point that toe. And exhale, you're going to flex the toes and bring the hand down. Just do that a few times. Inhale, point. And exhale, flex. Inhale, point. And exhale, flex. Inhale, extend. Exhale, going back. And switching sides. Notice if one side's different than the other. Inhale, extend. Exhale, starting position, flex the toes towards the nose, hands down. This is just the same leg extended as arm up. Inhale, extend that one side all the way through the arm and exhale down. If this does not work for your arm, you can just do it with pointing and flexing the foot or leave the arm in your place. It's a bit more intense if you do it with the arm staying up the whole time. Okay, so you can play with that. And finishing up, we're going to take it up a notch. So we're going to bring both legs up and just adjust your cushion till it's in the right place. You'll know when it is. You'll be very comfortable. And if you've got your belt nearby, you're going to put it on your right foot. We'll all do it the same. I like to make a loop with my belt. So that works for you, but you can hold your belt any way you like. The only thing I ask is that your shoulders be on the ground, and putting your hands through that loop and bringing your opposite leg down. And you might need to adjust where the cushion is, just see how that feels. I'm just going to adjust mine a little bit. And this is for the hamstring, the leg, but also the opposite hip. So we're going to focus more on the opposite hip tonight. So inhale here and exhale. You're going to bend your knee, and it's like a supine lunge. So we all know that lunges are good for the hips. So this is like a supine lunge. And I think we did a little bit of this last week. So that's your exhale. And then inhale, extend, and you can point the toe as you inhale. Exhale, flexing the toes. And when I do that exhale, I also try to extend the opposite leg away. Inhale, point. Exhale, bend and flex. Keep this going your own timing. So it's like a supine lunge. Supta Ekapadangustasana. One-legged stretch. And we're adding a stretch to the hip to this. And you could stay in this lunge position. Some of you could even hold the little toe side of the foot and stay here. Take it a little bit deeper. You could have the opposite arm up and take it a little bit deeper. So we started pretty slow on this, but now we're taking it up a notch. Extending that arm up, you might feel more of a stretch through the whole hip as well. And if you have any compression in the hip, this might feel really good to just stay. And when you're ready, switching sides. So with the belt on your left foot and extending the right leg out and feeling the right hip, we're focusing on that right hip. So inhale here, exhale, bending the left knee and keeping the right foot pressing away, so you're stretching into that psoas hip flexor on the right side. Inhale up, and you can point the toes if you like, and exhale, bending the knee. Keep this going your own time. Inhale, extend, exhale, bend. Try to keep your shoulders down as you do this. And I'm adding that point and flex of the foot to keep working the leg, the ankle, the foot, and flossing through the nerves of the legs. And again, on that exhale, trying to stretch the opposite foot, the lower leg, try to stretch it away. Do that a few more times dynamically, and then maybe stay in the position. And just see what that feels like. You might want to release the belt at this time and hold the little toe side of the foot and get a little deeper into this. You might want to bring the right arm up overhead to the floor behind you. The reason we have this cushion here is to create more length in the front of the hip, that hip flexor psoas. Every time I exhale, I bring that right foot a little bit further away, stretch the hip a bit more. Again, tonight we're just taking it a little deeper into the hips, not forgetting about the legs and feet. And just finishing up. Just going to hold both feet for a minute. Stretch them wide if you can, or you can do it without holding on to them if that's not accessible. And actually, I think I'm going to do it this way myself and just holding the outsides of the thighs. You can do this at a wall too, but a lot of us don't have free wall space in our apartments or houses, so this is a good option. You could do the classical pose holding the little toes, but this is a little bit maybe deeper stretch in some ways. And I'm keeping my hips and my knees and ankles aligned and getting into this groin. Noticing when one side's tighter than the other, bending the knees into the chest. Just rest here for a minute. If this is comfortable, if it's compressing your hips, you can just get rid of the bolster and just rest with your legs bent. No bolster, no pillow. And when you're ready, moving that pillow. Time is flying. And take a minute to notice how your hips feel. You've just done a lot of work on them, stretching and strengthening them. You might be feeling quite a bit of energy into your lower backs as well. Doing a little check, making sure you're all okay. We're just going to do a little counter pose. Inhale, legs up, arms up. Exhale, touching the toes towards the floor, hands by your side, and bring your knees into your chest. Also working with some core strength here. Inhale, extending up. And exhale, touching the toes down and bringing the knees into the chest at the end of the exhale. Just stretching both sides at a time after doing one side at a time. So in yoga, after asymmetrics, at some point we go back to the symmetric. Bring everything back to neutral before we move on to our next series of postures. Urdhva Prasrita Tadasana. You can make it a little harder by bringing the feet further away from you as you do that exhale. Working with the core as well. Which is very important for pelvic stability, for stability of the hips, the lower back. And just finishing up, resting with your legs down, your feet down, angle the knees in. Inhale, let, exhale, go. Inhale Om, exhale Namo. I surrender, I allow, I let go. Again, bringing back our bhavana, our visualization of the full moon. Maybe you see it in the sky above you. Maybe you see yourself lying on a still lake representing the still mind. And see the reflection of that soft, white, silvery light of the moon all around you, filling you with ojas energy. At the end of the class tonight, I'm going to be chanting a Vedic chant over 4,000 years old that talks about how the moon nourishes the herbs or the plants and nourishes us with its soft, radiant light. And the moon energy is said to create receptivity within us, so we can listen better, allow better, and be just more fully present, like the fullness of the moon. We're just going to move into our last series of postures before we move into a deep shavasana with some breathing and chanting and all sorts of things. So we're going to work on Supta Baddha Konasana. We've been working on one side of the hip at a time when we've been opening, but we're going to do that in this more classical way. You're going to inhale, you're going to open one side. So I'm going to start with my right just so you can see it better. Classically, we usually start with the left, but I'm doing this just so you can see me better. Inhale here, and you're going to exhale with your core strength. You're going to draw your knee in to meet the other one. So I really like this hip opener because it also has a strengthening aspect. So you're not jamming the hips open, which is not really a great idea. And in a lot of classical yoga, there's a lot of forcing of hips open, which we know now is not really a great idea because not all hips are made equally, and different hip joints are different, and some hips open easily by their anatomy and others don't. And if you try to force a hip that doesn't have an anatomy to open a lot into that, you can actually damage your hips, which I don't think is such a good idea to do over time. Inhale, open, and exhale, closing. So you won't see me do those kinds of poses, those deep hip openers, just because I'm a little leery of their long-term effects. Forcing the body into a position that it doesn't want to go in. It's maybe not such a good idea. One side at a time, inhale, opening, and you'll find even if you have one side that's tight, doing one side at a time, you might be able to open all the way to the floor, and exhale, closing. Actually never quite understood that until this last trip to India. I was like, oh, that's why we do this one side at a time. You can actually open to a little bit more sometimes, not restrict it by the other side. And then after this next one, we're going to do both sides. And you could do this if you like, especially if one hip is a little different than the other. This can help with that. You put a cushion underneath your back, a little cushion, not too big. So I bring to class 2 pillows, one bigger, one smaller. if you've got a little cushion from your couch or something. So you're going to inhale, open, and again, you might need to adjust where that cushion is. Find the right place, and this will keep things a little bit even. Don't have the cushion higher than your lower back. So inhale, Supta Baddha Konasana. Also where your feet are, you could have them further away from you to get more of an opening. So it's quite a deep opening for the hips, but still not too extreme. You're going to exhale, use your core strength, zipping up the breath from the bottom up. Let's focus on the breath here. Inhale, upper back, middle back, lower back, expanding as you go into that back arch. Exhale, pelvic floor, lower belly, belly button in, chest falls. So as you inhale, try to feel the back body. Exhale, the front body in a circle. And on that exhale, feel like you're dragging your knees together, resisting gravity. So rather than using your legs to pull your legs together, use your core strength from your pelvic floor to your belly button. Mula Bandha, this is called the root lock. It goes from the pelvic floor all the way to just below the belly button. It helps connect us to those lower two chakras, the root chakra at the pelvic floor all the way through the legs and feet to what we're into tonight, the Swadhisthana, the second chakra, to do with emotions, creativity, transformation. And if you like, start adding a breath or two at the top. Just see what that feels like to stay there. And if your hips feel uneven, maybe adjust that cushion till they just feel a little bit more even. And you might want to just stay here and breathe or keep it moving. Maybe adjust where your feet are. And your arms, forgot to say, for those of you who have issues in your upper back, they can be anywhere that's comfortable for you. And just resting here. If it's too much for the hips, do close them. This position does not work for everyone. And you can just go into your Shavasana with a cushion underneath your legs to act as a counter pose. Or if you like, before you go into Shavasana, close your hips, bring your knees into your chest, and just give yourself a hug in Apanasana. If you like, you can straighten the legs, you can hold on to the feet or the calves. And if you like, you can just do an inversion. So those are some options to close before we move into our Shavasana. Pick your medicine. When you feel complete, moving into your Shavasana. And I'm going to chant for you during this, so I'm going to skip my Shavasana, but I encourage you to get very comfortable. And we're going to do a moon meditation. And I saw the big moon here in Garden Bay, where we are. We have the most amazing view of the moon every month. It reflects on the water, and it was so bright at 5 in the morning that it woke me up.
this morning, which was interesting. So it inspired me to do this practice, to bring this chant, this Vedic chant that I hadn't done in a while. Chandra Namaskritya Mantraha. And it talks about the herbs, the aushadam, the herbs being nourished by the moon, creating soma, which is a word that means vitality, or another word for it is ojas, this soft vitality, immunity, nourishment of the mind and the body. I'm going to do this fairly softly, and I encourage you to visualize that full moon that you're lying in. Imagine yourself lying on a still, warm lake. Feel the weight of your body being supported by that still, warm lake. Seeing the moon above you, and then drawing it down, feeling the reflection of it all around you on that still lake of the mind. Filling you with ojas, soma, energy. And this moonlight, so powerful that it's said to feed the plants and the herbs, wonderful medicine for them. Oshataya samvadante somena saha rajñā. Oshataya samvadante somena saha rajñā. Om Oshadaya samvadante vadante somena saha Saharajñā Rajñeti Rajñā Oshadaya samvadante Vadante somena saha saharajñā rajñeti rajñā. Oshadaya sagum samoshadaya Oshadaya samvadante vadante samvadante
Vadante somena somena vadante vadante somena somena saha saha somena somena saha Saharagnya, ragnya, saharagnya, ragneti ragnya, Oshadaya samsagung masho sadaya, Oshadaya samvadante vadante sagung samvadante vadante somena somena vadante vadante somena somena saha saha somena somena saha Saharagya, ragya, saharagya, ragneti ragya. Oshataya samvadante somena saharagya. May I be nourished by the light of the moon, filling me with energy, immunity, vitality. And may my mind be clear and strong like the full moon, reflecting the light of my soul, the sun. Receiving this light. Starting to increase the length of your breath. When you're ready, moving your hands and feet, bending one knee at a time, maybe rocking side to side, coming on to perhaps your right side if that's accessible, to feel your left side to the sky, the moon side, the Chandra side of the body. The right side is more the Surya side, the sun side from a yoga perspective. When you're ready, coming up to a seated position to close, or you could lie there a little longer. And we're just going to do Om Shanti with some arm movement, visualizing the moon. Inhale, the arms at the side, and visualizing the full moon all around you. And exhale through the center. Inhale, visualizing the full moon. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti getting a little quieter. The first one for the body, the physical body. The second one for the mind. And the third one for that beyond the mind. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Last time, inhale, visualizing the radiant moon all around you. Exhale, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Hands at the heart to close. Hari Hariya, may all obstacles be removed. From that experience of consciousness, clarity, peace within you, within all. Namaste. Thank you very much.